Here we go. Hi, everybody. Good morning. So nice to meet you all. Can everybody see me okay? I'll do my best to wander around so the folks in the back row will get a chance to look at me. I'm one of the librarians here, and I always like to start off with a little bit of an introduction. In addition to being a librarian, I'm an artist and a researcher. I'm really active in the local steampunk community. I give lectures at SteamCon every year, and I specialize in Meiji Punk, which is Japanese-era steampunk around 1868 or so. I'm also in love with cats. Grumpy Cat's one of my favorites. And I also adore Japanese anime and manga. I give lectures also at SakuraCon, and I love Japanese culture. I work with the Japanese Club on campus, too. So just to give you a little bit of background, what we're going to do today is the first session of a two-part information literacy session to help you folks get started on the research that you'll do for your place project. And so information literacy, just real quick definition so we have sort of a common language. Librarians define this as the ability to recognize when information is needed and have the ability to locate, evaluate, and use that needed information effectively. We're going to focus on two things today. These are the two sort of main overreaching ideas that are going to help me structure what we talk about, which is locating and evaluating information. And so our goals in specific, the reason why we're doing what we're doing today, are 5 points for this first session, just to give you a sense of what's coming, why we're doing it. So I want to get you folks started with a brainstorming activity, because yes, you've got places that you've decided you're going to do, but I want to give you a chance to really stop and think and reflect on various aspects about that place. We talk sometimes about pre-writing, doing a little bit of writing before you start work on a paper. Well, I like to call this pre-searching. So before you get anywhere near an actual database or a library catalog, let's spend a little bit of time mentally preparing for what's about to take place. And so I'm going to use your assignment description that Deborah just went over as sort of the example for that activity. And so then we're going to transition to some big picture ideas. I'm going to talk with you folks about the difference between the open web and the invisible web. And what we're going to do is we're going to go from these big, broad, overreaching ideas about information, narrow it down to concrete skills that you can use to do research for your assignment. So starting big and broad in this section, narrowing down the specifics, and in the second part, 2, that you'll see me next week on Monday, we're going to really get into the nitty-gritty of what are you having trouble with? What kinds of things did you find? What didn't you find? And we're going to problem solve, problem solve, problem solve. Okay? And so we're going to start off with W5. We're going to move on to demystifying the web. I'm going to do some search demonstrations. I'm going to give you Heather's greatest hits of library resources. We're also going to talk about Google, because I believe in using every information resource that's available to you. I'll try and talk with you about some tips and tricks for making Google results better. And then finally, we're going to finish with an activity around analyzing and evaluating information. Because you hear from your instructors all the time, use good resources. Use good resources. What does that mean? What is good? It's so subjective. So what I'm going to try and do with you folks is give you some concrete criteria, a very structured method that'll help you know for sure, yes, I've covered all of my bases. I've really looked at this resource fully. Okay? My golden rule, there's no such thing as a stupid question. I mean that. I mean that so much. So please, never hesitate to raise your hand and ask me a question at any point in time during this session. Okay? So feel free to interrupt me if ever I say anything unclear. This is your chance. You have a librarian cornered in a room. Pepper me with questions. Ask me why. I'll do my best to answer those questions for you. Okay, so I love Spirited Away. How many of you have seen the movie Spirited Away, the animated film? Yeah? All right, if you haven't seen it, it's on the top 100 films to see in your lifetime. Basically, it's like a Japanese version of Alice in Wonderland. It's a beautiful story of coming of age and of the spirit world, the other world, and growing up. And so I'm going to pretend that for this assignment, I'm going to be investigating the bathhouse from Spirited Away. Let me turn off the light for just a second so you can get a better glance at this image. Can you see that a little bit better now? See some of the detail? Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to transition into an activity, but I'm going to set you up with an example of what we're about to do in that activity, and then I'll break you up into pairs and I'll give you a worksheet, okay? So I'm going to pretend that you all are my partners in this activity right now. So here is my place. Here's a picture of my place. And I'm going to start trying to go into one of the things that Deborah mentioned when she went over the assignment, starting from a first glance look at the place. Okay, so that's what we're doing right now. And so there are no right or wrong answers right now. What do you see? What do you see? Lots of colors. So greens, reds, golds. Animated and cartoon-like, all right. So this is not an actual photograph of a place. No wrong answers, folks. Yeah. Detail. There's a lot of detail. It's not just a hazy sketch.
The architecture seems pretty symmetrical. If I put a straight line, it seems pretty much the same.
Right, right. I know, that's interesting, right? Other ideas? Other thoughts? Responses? Right, you see this interesting smokestack off to the right here, or I'm sorry, left, with black smoke coming out. Other thoughts? Sort of good first glance now. Last chance before we move on. Remember, no wrong answers. What do you see? What do you see? Yeah. It does look Japanese. What makes you say that? Yeah, so the eaves are pointing and curling up. So you get a sense of a specific culture when you look at this. And so anyone want to build on that? Any other? Yeah. Right. So we see there's a different type of writing script used in the depiction. We see this character here, these here, and these here. Excellent. You're looking really close. You're starting to analyze. Okay. Other thoughts? Other responses? Maybe the structure of the building? Yeah. That's a good point. What makes you say that? Gotcha. Like this area through here, the verandas? Right. Okay, yeah.
Is it connected to a bridge over water?
Ah, good eye. See right down here? See the banisters? It does look like a bridge, doesn't it? Right. Okay. So I'm going to transition now a little bit. So we've had our first glance. We've looked at the building. We're starting to analyze the actual structure, look at the colors, kind of try and figure out, well, what's going on here? Okay? That's the kind of thing that you want to do when you engage with your place. There's nothing wrong with starting with the obvious. It's a building in a field. Do that. That can be a great way to segue into larger discussions of deeper meaning. So we went from lots of colors to the actual structure of the building, the shape of the roof, the way that the banisters are constructed to the bridge that's in front of it. Okay, excellent. And so W5 is the activity that we're about to go into. So by W5, I mean who, what, when, where, and why. Not to worry, I'm going to give you a worksheet in just a second that'll help you with this. So this is our pre-search activity. This is our pre-writing activity. So let me show you what it looks like. So here is the worksheet that I'm about to hand to you folks. And let me zoom out. Okay. Can everybody see that okay? Good? All right. So in the center, I have written my place. So the bathhouse from Spirited Away, because that's what it is. It's a bathhouse. I don't know anything about it except the fact that the little girl that you saw on the bird, she went, oh, it's a bathhouse. That's where I'm starting from. But then surrounding your center point, you have those categories. You have what, who, why, when, and where. And what I would like you folks to do is I would like you to spend about 5 minutes by yourself with your worksheet and try and fill in the blanks. Try and consider, well, who are the stakeholders? Who is involved in this place? Who goes to this place? Who uses it? And so what is involved? What is this place set up to do? When is this happening? Is it happening now? Does your place still exist? Or is it gone? Do we have our records of it from the past, right? Where? Where is this place? Okay? And then why? Why might be the most difficult thing to fill in about your place? Simply because that why might be, well, why is this place significant? Why does it exist within our cultural memory? Or this might be that question that leads you into the rest of your research to pull one step bigger. And so let's go back to my map here for a second. So what? Yeah, it's an animated film. It's from Spirited Away. Bathhouses in general. Well, it looked really interesting. There's some interesting architecture going on in there. And I've been to Japan a couple of times, and I start thinking to myself, oh, those eaves that you folks pointed out, you see in the bottom corner here, it looks a lot like some of the shrine architecture that I've seen. Looking at it from the side, there's that very spindly bridge. So try and think expansively about the what. Yes, it's a hospital. What kind of architecture is being used to build it? What does that mean? How does that work? And so, yes, it's a bathhouse, but what about bathing? Like, what bathhouse? We don't have bathhouses in the United States anymore. Well, what's the history of bathhouses in Japan? So what about worldwide? So what we're starting to do right now is to start jumping off. So we're starting to expand beyond our physical understanding of that place to try and consider its broader context. And so, you following me? Any questions about that so far? Ready for the activity? Okay, let me bring my slides back up. I'll just flip through because this is fun. Here's another picture of an onsen in Japan, in Shikoku. Look at the eave at the front there, that interesting shape. Very similar to the interesting shape on the front. But this isn't a presentation about bathhouses, so just give you some other images. And, okay. If you want to ask me about Spirited Away, I could talk to you for hours and hours, but that's not why we're here. So your activity, like I said, as individuals, work on filling out your W5 map. I'll call you back together, and then you're going to work as pairs. So find a partner. If there's an odd number of people around you, maybe work as a triad. What I'd like you to do is take turns explaining your map. Because yes, we have an idea in our head, but until we start trying to explain that idea out loud to another person, we might not really make connections about what's important. It gives you a chance to really sort of get out loud what you're thinking about, what you're kind of beginning to brainstorm. The person who's listening, you have a job too. Listen carefully, because once the person is done explaining, make suggestions. Oh, I happen to know a lot about hospitals. My auntie worked there in multiple places a really long time. Or, hey, I'm a nursing student. Did you think about this? Did you think about this? So help each other improve your W5 map, because this has two purposes. Not only will it help you start brainstorming these jumping off points, but this is also a place for you to store keywords to use later on when we get to searching. And so you'll keep adding to it. You'll keep making additions, okay? It's a holding tank as well as a place to help you take stock of what you've done so far. Okay, so I'm going to hand it out. Do you mind passing extras back? Does anybody need a pen? Everybody's got a writing device? Excellent. Okay, there you go. You'll notice there's something on the back. I'll talk about that later. take extras. I'll take extras. Extras, okay. Your place, yes. Excellent question. This activity is for your place, right? Your place in the center of the map. Let me know if you have any questions during this activity. I'm more than happy to come over. Please, just raise on up your hand and holler at me. Yeah. What's
So my building now, it's something different than it was in like the 1920s. So do I list both those things?
Yeah, you could. You could definitely do that because that's an identity of the place that's changed. And then you can start considering both of those places to help you fill in your map. So. Hi.
Kind of trying to remember the so why is it for?
Yeah. When did it first show up? Yeah, so you could write in 1950s. It's not necessary to have a correct answer right now, the second. It's just to help you get ideas that are in your head, even if they're a rough idea. Like, okay? Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Where it is.
Yeah, so where it's in the United States right now, but it's also around the world, too. So what does that mean? How is that significant?
Significance goes under why.
Yeah, you could. You could definitely put that under why. And so,
Who could also cater to, could also be customers, because I have to check the CEOs, yes.
yeah, you could definitely list both the people who work there, the people who go there as consumers. Yeah, does that help?
Yeah, that helps.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Questions? Excellent thing just came up. There are no wrong answers. No wrong answers whatsoever right now. If you don't remember a specific date, that's fine. Put down an idea. It's just a chance for you to kind of get what's in your head on the paper. Hi. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So. Yeah. Why did they build it? And why is it still there? Why is it significant? And so, those kinds of things. Does that help? Yeah. Okay. Got it? Cool. Yeah. Question. So, Mount Pilchuck Fire Lookout. So, what is it? What's a fire lookout? And so, yeah. One more minute, folks, and then please start preparing to pair up and share. Sorry to rush you. We just have limited time. Yeah, question. Yeah.
It's like, can it also involve where around the world it's actually happening?
Yeah.
Where the place, like similar place.
Exactly, yeah. There are no wrong answers. You're just trying to consider things that could potentially be associated with where this type of place occurs. So for Buddhist temples, you're right. There's a Buddhist temple here in Tacoma, but there's Buddhist temples all around the world. What's the connections between the two? Yeah, so Snohomish River Road. So this is an actual place in a city?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
kind of like a public trail, but the river itself has an industrial path.
So you could write about its industrial past. You could say that there are factories associated with it. It's a trail. People walk on that trail, but before it became a trail, people worked in the area. It occupies a very specific location within the city. What was it before they built the trail? Was it a railroad bank? Was it...
Everything's a railroad.
Yeah.
River transferring. Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, kind of. Thank you.
Yeah, I know it's a little ambiguous. It's a little hazy right now. It's supposed to be that way, and starting to get your ideas down on the page will help you start to consolidate and collect your ideas about that place.
For sure.
Okay, I like that you drew a picture. That's a great idea, actually.
It's not very
No, it's great. Okay, any last minute questions before we start transitioning to sharing? Don't worry if you don't have a lot of things on your map. As you start doing your research and discovering more, you'll uncover more terms, more ideas to put into your map. Okay? If you're ready to start sharing, please go ahead and find a partner and start explaining your map. Okay? Try and tell your partner in if this is your elevator speech, tell them in very, very succinct terms, well, what's your place? Who's there? Why is it important? So, and if you don't have anything to share in those categories, that's okay. Share what you have. Questions about what we're doing? All right, go for it. Yeah. Okay, so let's just do a quick debrief with each other about what just happened. So when you started working on this, how many of you felt a little confused, like, wait, what are we doing? What's going on? Yeah, that's natural. And so that's what happens when you start working on an idea that you have. Yes, I know that I'm doing bathhouses, but wait, what? So as you started writing down things in your categories, as you started discussing things with your partner, what happened? Anybody have an aha moment? Something happened that they found interesting? Huh? No wrong answers? Okay, did it help? Yeah, I'm seeing lots of nodding going on. I saw a hand. Did somebody want to share something? No? But it helped, though, right? How many of you right now feel like you have a better understanding of what you're doing, a better understanding of your place? Hands up. Yeah, getting there? Maybe not 100%, but getting there, right? So now you have maybe some terms that you can draw upon, some words describing your place, or maybe you have a bunch of questions. So these questions are what will help you interact with resources when you find them. Incidentally, we pretty much did this right now. So this is your assignment description. We started from a first glance of your place. Yes, it's an aquarium, but we're going to expand a little bit broader. It's an aquarium, but it's specifically in a location, in a community, in a region of the Pacific Northwest, in the United States. And then we start jumping off places. Well, I had no idea there was a military base nearby that had a marine biology department. Oh, I had no idea that there is a huge Southeast Asian immigrant population in this particular region, and so maybe that's why there's a whole bunch of these Buddhist temples in this place. And so, so starting specifically with your location and then moving broader, all right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch gears a little. And lots of pictures of things. We're going to start moving on to bridge into the realm of search, okay? So we've got all these terms now, all these ideas. Next step, we need to start looking for resources to help us answer these questions about this place. So remember I said earlier, we're going to go from broader ideas and then move to specific skills. So what I'd like to do as a sort of like a prelude, like before we get to, hey, here's our catalog, or hey, here's a database, I want to go big picture for a moment to talk a little bit about how search works. And I actually want to show you a video by a fellow named Matt Cutts. Matt is the CEO in charge of search optimization for Google. So this is the guy who works with everybody to try and make Google work better. And he has a video that he made. It's very short. It's only 3 minutes. It'll tell you how Google works. And then we're going to use that as a branching off place to talk about library databases. So let me pull that up and get it started.